How you get so big getting hold of this kind?
Hello and welcome in. Today I'm gonna do a quick spoiler-free review of Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. If you're not familiar with Claudia Gray has written 3 previous Star Wars canon novels, Bloodline, Lost Stars, and Leia, Princess of Alderaan. I highly recommend all 3, but this, her 4th book, is the book I have been looking forward to the most. This is my time period, these are my characters, this is the type of content I was looking for, this is the book as a prequels fan I have been waiting for. I used to read the Jedi Apprentice series and other series by Jude Watson back in the Legends days, and those books largely inspired this one, and so I was so excited. I could not have had higher expectations for Master and Apprentice. Claudia Gray is one of my favorite authors in current canon right now. Her past books are some of my favorite in current canon, and with the material, like, I had sky-high expectations running into this novel with just hoping absolutely everything would happen, and I was in no way let down, and in fact my expectations were not only met but exceeded. Though for the sake of objectivity in this review, I'm gonna just kind of get into some spoiler-free aspects of the story so you can get an idea of what you're getting into if you read this book. This book is largely about the tension between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. When we see them in the Phantom Menace, they are a team, but not without their disagreements. This is the story of how they got from being a discordant to a dynamic duo. If you're a fan of the Jedi, especially the prequel-era Jedi, then this is a book for you. It's about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and their master and student relationship, but it's also about Jedi Masters and Jedi Padawans in general. We see several different iterations of this relationship throughout the book. We get flashbacks to Qui-Gon's time as a Padawan to Dooku. We also learn about Dooku's first apprentice, a character by the name of Rael, a highly unconventional Jedi that lets us see aspects of the Jedi Order in a way we hadn't been able to see them before. The turbulent nature of these relationships is incredibly well played out. One of the most common complaints of the prequel trilogy is that the Jedi seem so cold and emotionless, they seem so stiff, but this book really blows that idea out of the water by showing just how completely complex these superpowered galactic knights truly are. This is a story of loss and betrayal and guilt and learning to trust again, both learning to trust yourself again and learning to trust others. It's about not judging people by their covers or their appearances, and Gray really makes these Jedi, for lack of a better word, really human. This is also an exceptionally deep dive into Jedi lore. The nature of prophecy and the most mystical aspects of the Force are constant discussions. While the Chosen One prophecy isn't necessarily discussed at long length, it is at least brought up along with several other prophecies within the novel, along with why Jedi were just so wary of prophecy to begin with. And as if that wasn't enough to talk about, it also gets into the incredibly complex political situation within the prequel trilogy. I was a little worried going in that this was going to be a little bit one-sided, that this was going to completely trash the Jedi in the way they had been carrying on business in the Republic. Granted, they were wrong, that's largely the point of the prequel trilogy, but this was done in a way that lets you see why the Jedi were doing what they were doing, what their arguments were, what all of the added complexities that they had to juggle, how Jedi were getting involved with treaties and hyperspace lanes, and all of this stuff that really shouldn't have been a Jedi's problem, but ultimately becomes a Jedi's problem, and how that clouds the Jedi's role within the Republic. In my opinion, the prequel era is one of the most interesting from a political perspective, with so many interests and sides at play. While this was explored in Legends canon, it was never done to the fullest potential I thought it could have been, and this book really delivers on that. And it does it in a way that's not slow or arduous, and all of the exposition is revealed very naturally through the story. You get this very complex look at a very dicey political situation, but I never felt like I was reading through 5 pages of exposition. Everything was just being revealed naturally through the course of the mystery within the story. Now, whether or not this book is for you will depend largely on how interested you are in the Republic or the Jedi of the prequel era. if those things are not really your cup of tea, then this book may not be as magical for you as it was for me. However, if you have any interest at all, or simply wish to know more about these things because you want something to kind of fill in what we didn't see in the films, this may be the book that you didn't know you needed. For me, reading this book was an incredibly emotional experience. This really took me back to my childhood and what got me into Star Wars to begin with, but instead of revisiting that through the eyes of a child, I got to see it through the eyes of an adult. I got to see the things that got me obsessed with Star Wars, but I also got to see the depth and wisdom found within. And for that, I just have to say, Claudia Gray, you may never watch this video, but from the bottom of my fandom heart, thank you. So that is my spoiler-free review of Master and Apprentice. If you've read the novel, please leave a comment below telling me what you thought of the book, but please keep spoilers out of the comments for the sake of anybody who's coming here to try to remain spoiler-free. If you haven't already, follow us on all of the socials. I'm always happy to talk to you guys in any way that I can. And until next time, keep it real and fly casual.
Cooking candy box!